I'll do. Bit of bonus footage this. Bit of bonus footage and a brief introduction to Dave, the landlord. What are you saying, Brian? Landlord of our local pub, the Woodman. Leeds Road, Wakefield. All dogs welcome. Brian loves it. Bit chaotic when he goes there. Bit hard to control. Too many people about and lots of other dogs. Listen, it's a positive one, this one. Which is good in these times. So we've got a bit of Brian here. I'll put a bit of bonus footage of Brian with our smallest, Hattie, his sister. It's only a minute, but it'll melt your hearts and make you smile. And that's what it's about, innit, Brian? One more gravy bone and we're off to do the interview. Thanks for your continued support. God bless you all, shoulder to shoulder. Thanks for coming. I'll see you.
Feel like I'm at school.
You feel like you're at school?
Yeah.
How do? So we've already had the intro. Might be a little bit nervous, might not. Ask me where the questions were. That's where they are. So sometimes I am not abrupt. Would you say I'm abrupt?
No.
It's Dave, by the way. Not abrupt, but unfiltered. So if I'm somewhere and there's a young lady crying or whatever, then so long as I'm not going to make the situation worse, I might approach them and ask them whether they're all right. So this is our local boozer. Like I said, we bring Brian. He's more than welcome.
All right.
Man, a few words.
Top dog.
He is a top dog, yeah. One night, I've had a few beers. I don't drink a lot anymore. I'm at the bar, getting served by Dave's, probably 10 o'clock at night. Might have had 2 or 3, 3 or 4. Like I say, 4 or 5's my limit. I says to Dave, I remember it well, are you an alcoholic? And he said,
I used to be.
I used to be. So straight off there, people say you're an alcoholic for the rest of your life. Do you go along with that?
No, not really.
So we're going to go back 15 years.
Correct.
You arrive at your doctor's and he says you're going to pin the fields. Just tell me about that conversation.
I went to doctor's first. Friday morning it was. I'll never forget it, to be fair. Because my face had swollen up, massive. So I went to doctor's and he initiated a blood test. And he said, come back on Tuesday for the results. So I went to the pub, like I always did, and a few sherbets. Phone rang about 5 o'clock. It was doctor. He said, can you get yourself back down here? I said, yes. And we went back to doctor's. And he just said, go home, pack a bag, Pinderfield Hospital's expecting you. And that's kind of the end of the line for the drinks.
Right, 2 questions. First one, how much were you drinking?
Oh, towards the end, probably around about 18 pints, bottle of Sambuca, every day.
18 pints and a bottle of Sambuca?
Every day.
Why Sambuca? Did you?
No, I kind of got addicted to it a little bit when I lived in Spain, because shops were massive in Spain and everybody used to do them and staff had to do them as well. So I kind of got addicted to doing them.
It's a culture, isn't it?
It was a culture.
So you've answered a few questions there. You know, did family prompt you to go? Had you been under doctor? But basically your face swelled up. How long had it taken you to get to that point? Did you know you were an alcoholic?
Certainly towards the end I was an alcoholic, maybe 3 years before. And I just carried on and on and on.
Family?
Girlfriend at the time took me to doctors.
And
that's where it started, really, where I were having to stop drinking.
At what point did it get serious? Right, in his lives. So, you know, I always played rugby. Me, looking back, not so much now in the professional era, but rugby. Train twice a week. Some people would go out after that. Saturdays were, you know, it was a selfish time as a rugby player. It was all night, drinking, boozing, a lot of alcoholics in rugby, a lot of drink driving, a lot of divorces. So, you know, did it just creep up? Have you always been an heavy drinker?
I probably drunk for most of my adult life, to be fair. Started drinking really young.
What are you talking?
13, 14, just on a weekend though, not anywhere near 7 days a week or all like that, like it was at end.
As a teenager, just socially?
Yeah, just on the street or in park or...
Which is what we used to do, isn't it?
Yeah, that was the game.
Local beer off, flagging a cider with your mates.
That's how it all started. And then obviously when you get to 17, 18, you start going to the pub, nightclubs. And then, back then I was shop fitting at the time. When I turned 17, I was shop fitting.
Hold on.
I was on quite a good money.
Were you stopping away from home?
Yeah.
Right, let me
working
tell
away.
So, I don't know whether I've told you this, so at one bit I was working with my mate, you know, Asda's and that when they were being built, part of rewiring structure. There were a lot of lads, shop fitters and the like, stopping away from home in week. There were some lads that we got to know really well, so we do 12-hour nights, yeah. They'd get back to digs, to hotel, start playing cards, cans, 11 o'clock boozer, back front boozer at 2 or 3 hours sleep, back on 12-hour nights.
That just sounds like what I used to do.
And how much money did you actually take home? Because they were spending it all.
Absolutely nothing.
They were spending it all.
Absolutely no. I work away for nothing. Sometimes I come home and I owed money.
Billy one brew, although he did offer me one. You owed money?
Yeah, loads of times. Borrowed money to go out.
So looking back, when did it get really serious? Because, you know...
I'd say when I moved to Spain...
Yeah. What did you move for?
Because we were no work in England, to be fair, and I got an opportunity to go work in a bar in Spain, and I just thought, well let's go and try it. Probably one of the hardest jobs I've ever had, to be fair.
In what way? Because I'm thinking you're in Spain.
The hours were horrendous.
Go on then.
I used to start work at 4 in the afternoon, finish at 2 o'clock in the morning, 7 days a week for 6 months solid. But that was just on tank all the time. On tank all the time.
Behind the bar?
Yeah, oh yeah. You know,
Is that customers buying you
my
drinks?
interview with Big Steve at Black Bull Bar. He says we encourage the staff to get on the same level as the customers, and I was like, no problem with that, mate. You know, he would encourage me to get drunk.
I'm laughing, but I'm not laughing.
You know,
Yeah.
so I'm thinking, I'm here 7 days a week on RAS, serving customers
Getting paid.
and getting paid, and it was like heaven.
Do you think that was it? That 6 months did that seal your fate, as it were?
Not the first 6 months. Probably coming into the... See, I did 4 seasons. I did 3 seasons on tank, absolutely gassed. Can't remember anything about Salou. And then my final season, I did sober. Which was a lot better, to be fair.
Well, why did you do it sober?
Because I'd come home for winter, and that's when I ended up in Pinfields.
So you actually went back to the job?
Yeah, in Spain.
In recovery?
In recovery. And didn't drink.
Right. I'm going to ask you something now. Yeah. I want you to tell me about Pinderfields. Was there any doubt you were going to go, or your face swelling up and the doctor phoning you back, the seriousness of it, you know? Did you consider not packing your bag?
No, not at all.
So Tell me what happens. You get booked into Pinderfields, you're there a month. What does that involve?
Well, basically, when I turned up at Pinderfields, my liver had already failed. Hence why there was swelling all over my face, my body, because that were all the fluid in on my body. And obviously I couldn't pass fluid or anything like that. But while I was there, because of that, my heart failed. Because my heart couldn't pump anything through my liver. And then I had to have a blood transfusion because there were literally zero goodness left in any of my blood.
Is that your month inside?
This were all probably within first 10 hours, I would have said.
Really?
Yeah.
Vitamin B injections in your arse?
Yeah. I had an alcohol injection.
Pabranex or something similar that they give you to...
I can't remember now.
Did you go through the detox, hallucinating, seeing spiders? Can you remember?
Not so much, to be honest, because I had an alcohol drip on, which basically stops you withdrawing. So I wasn't really any different. I was just seriously ill.
How's that work? I've never heard of that. I understand, you know, I've seen them in prison, going through a detox, they're on the healthcare, and 3 days, it's horrendous.
Mm-hmm. Well, basically, you just have a drip and it feeds you alcohol.
Obviously, they're giving you a small amount.
Up and down,
Yeah.
Not to start with. It goes on your units, you know.
Yeah. So were they giving you the equivalent to what you'd have been drinking on that?
Yeah.
Really?
Definitely. I spent probably 2 or 3, 4 days in the beginning, absolutely comatose, in bed pissed, or on alcohol drip pissed.
So, were you a good patient? Were you scared? Your heart and everything?
I was. Were I a good patient? To be fair, I was probably the least poorly on the alcohol ward.
Okay.
Some horrendous stories of alcoholics. People walking around yellow, a luminous yellow.
Jaundice.
It was an awful place. Awful ward to be on.
So
we all had to eat us dinner together. We all had to tell stories to each other about.
Really? So they were like doing therapy while you were.
Yeah.
Who was delivering that? Was it like Alcoholics Anonymous that were on the unit?
A little bit like that. Although I've never been to Alcoholics Anonymous. I've never done a programme about alcoholics.
So you've gone through like the first week. What was the rest? Giving you quality food, medication?
Pretty much. Well, pretty much bedbound, to be fair. Certainly for the first week.
You still remember it?
Yeah, certainly for the first 2 weeks. But you get people kicking off because they're not the withdrawing.
Yeah, it's awful.
It was a nightmare.
Awful.
It was an absolute nightmare.
People hallucinate.
Yeah.
Become violent.
Yeah, especially during night. It was a right nightmare.
At what point did you decide that was it? As in?
I decided that was it on the way to hospital.
Really?
Yeah, I knew. I knew. My body knew. That's why I got 4 cans of Carling, drank them in taxi on way to Pinderfields, because I knew that was going to be my final drink. Because I know how poorly I was.
And it was your final drink?
And it was my final drink.
15 years ago?
15 years ago.
Right, so this bit, some people will not understand. Yep. You've been in this boozer now, Landlord, for
15 years.
15 years. So I now know you did a season when you come out of hospital, and then straight into the business of being a landlord. Explain that.
Well, it's kind of weird that I was addicted to the pub, to the social scene. And alcohol kind of drew me in, if you get what I mean.
Tell me about you. I'm sure you said you went out with your mates when you come out of hospital.
Oh yeah, I did a bit of self rehabilitation.
Go on then.
So I left Pinderfields, and nurse gave me 2 appointments, and one was for a nutritionist, and
Yeah.
because you never eat when you're on tank fully.
No.
Never ever
You
eat.
can
Probably
see alcoholics,
twice,
can't you?
3 times a week. I mean, you'd have something to eat because you're always just constantly drinking. And other one was for AA, and I said to the nurse, I don't need either of them appointments. I will never ever drink again. And the nurse replied that she said, "You'll be amazed how many people end up back here." And I said, "I bet I'm not back here." Anyway, I left Pinderfield after a month. I went straight back to Cherry Tree in Aubrey. I sat with the same group of guys that I'd sat with a month before. And I drank black currant and soda all day and night. And I slowly watched the transition in these guys. Basically, I'd watched myself get drunk because 1 month before, I was one of them people. And it was awful. It was absolutely awful.
Excuse the pun. How sobering was that?
Yeah, it was really, really weird because when I'm sat there at 12 o'clock, everything's fine, you know, we're all having a chit chat, football's on telly and all that. Come 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, getting a bit boisterous, a bit loud, you know. Come 6, 7, 8 o'clock, I couldn't stand them. And these were the same guys that I'd been drinking with the month before, you know, and they're like catcalling people and shouting at people and all sorts of rubbish. And I'm like, I can't believe I used to sit doing that only 1 month before. So that was kind of a bit of self-rehabilitation. I'd actually finally seen myself as a drunk because I didn't do anything that they weren't doing the month before. So it were a bit odd. I think it helped though. It definitely helps.
Well, for me, obviously. So what? I'm trying to get this for other people now. That there is so obviously you become seriously ill. If you'd have carried on drinking, how long do you think you'd possibly got? Were you at end of life?
Oh yeah, I would have. I would have said I wouldn't have probably lasted a week.
Really?
Probably.
So I'm
never
trying.
Forget Dr. Gracie Whiteman. He was my liver doctor, and he sat on end of bed in Pinderfield. I'll never ever forget his words. He said, "You don't realise how poorly you have been," like that, and I was like, "Whoa," you know, kind of scared me a little bit.
Have you had any heart trouble or liver trouble since?
No.
Are you on meds for any of that?
No.
So
Well, when I left hospital, I was on meds.
Yeah.
Anti-withdrawals and all sorts of rubbish, but I didn't do much with that. And then I used to be under Pinderfield. I used to have a camera down throat every 6 months. I want.
No, not good.
Oh no.
You see, what people are going to struggle with is the fact that you come to work in a pub every single day of life. You're seeing people drinking. Well, I was going to say, would you advocate for not drinking? But obviously, you're not in the business of that. It's like myself and our lass. You know, we found this gaff. We can bring Brian. It's nice just to come out together, a couple of 3 hours now and again, sit down. You know, there's people around, bit of an atmosphere. It's very much a social thing. Obviously, we're not in every day. We're not drinking to excess, although we have in the past. I'm just, you know, what words of wisdom? Because there'll be people out there. There's people who were alcoholics. I lost my cousin, so he the last 15 years of his life were alcoholic. When I was in the prison service, I never saw him. Very close growing up. When I left the prison service, got a call from one of my cousins. He was in hospital. Went to see him a couple of times in Sheffield. He looked like a 70-year-old man.
Yellow.
Curled up on bed, yeah. He knew who I was. He never spoke to me. Stopped two nights, and I think third night he died. But I just, you know, his brother tried everything to help him.
Yeah.
And
Well, I'm kind of in the same story as a little bit of that. My dad died when I was 21. Alcoholism.
really,
Yeah. And my brother died at 32-year-old. So I'd have been 29. That were alcoholism.
your brother, 32.
32.
Okay, no.
But I was well on my way by then. By the time my brother died, I was well on my way to being a full-blown alcoholic.
So,
But I knew that I was poorly. I just didn't. I couldn't do nothing about it because I was that deep in. You know,
yeah.
like especially living in Spain, it was to get up on a morning. I lived above a bar, so a Spanish bar. So I used to go downstairs, have 6 bottles before I'd even have breakfast or a coffee or anything like that. That might be 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
So,
And then go straight to work. You know, fully
Yeah.
on tank all the time,
listen.
just constantly.
So again, it's another word people use. Would you say you were a functioning alcoholic?
Absolutely, 100%. Never lost a job through drinking. I had it
Were you reliable?
fixed. Yeah. I had it fixed in my brain. If I don't go to work, I can't afford to drink. It's as simple as that.
Can I ask you?
So I never not work. I never lost a job through work. I worked weekends when there were shifts going. You know, I'd always be first to say, "Oh, I'll do that," because I know the more money that I had, the more beer I could have had. But that's how it transfixed in my brain. Everything, certainly between the ages of 28 and 31, when I finally stopped, everything revolved around beer.
Can I ask you? So growing up with your dad, can you always remember him drinking?
Absolutely.
And do you think that's why you and your brother ended up sort of
Definitely. Yeah.
no questions?
No questions. 100%.
On reflection, because obviously people, you know, talk about hindsight. That's a load of bollocks. That, you know, you can only reflect on things that have happened. You know, do you think anything could have staved that off? Was it, or was it just part of family life?
I think it was just part of family life, but it were all sorts of situations that I were in, working away from home, you know, moving to Spain. Working away from home was a nightmare. You know, we used to do 12-hour days. Finish work straight in bath till midnight.
It's shocking, really, isn't it?
Yeah, it's absolutely shocking. Never earned a penny while I was working away. And I did that for 13 years. So
I'm just trying to. You just got to a point again. Okay, so have you been tempted in the last 15 years?
absolutely not. No.
Again, is that strength of character? Is it, you know, the fact that you're on death's door? What psyche? Because people, you'll know, people struggle, don't they? They might recognise, or family recognise they've got a problem, and getting help and sorting them out, they go through detox after detox after detox. Like me cousin, bless him, our Russ, the only time, and I didn't see him, that his brother said he was anything like well, he did a short spell in Doncatraz, Donny prison, 18 months, come out sober, which you see, for me, that was the time someone needed to get hold of him,
Yeah.
to save his life, but it weren't happening.
It's a tough one with alcoholism, because unless you help yourself, there isn't that much help out there. It's not like you can take a tablet and it stops you drinking, or it stops you shaking, or it stops you wanting to go to the pub. See, my problem was I needed to be at pub, whether it was my local pub, a pub when I was working away, pub when I was in Spain. That was my overall addiction, I think, was to socialising. Been front man, been big man, you know, I wanted to be this.
Yep.
You know, I'm laughing, I'm joking, everything's alright. But
we've all done
behind the
that, haven't we?
scenes, your life's a fucking shit tip. Do you know what I mean?
People don't see that, do they?
No, oh no. I think for the 13 years I were proper on tanking pubs, it was really just to hide what were actually going on in my life. Do you know? My dad was an alcoholic,
Yeah.
lost him. Brother was an alcoholic, lost him.
How devastating was that?
I kind of dealt with my dad's all right because he actually died of alcoholism. And if there were any way that he were going to go, he were going to be that way.
Yeah.
So I kind of dealt with that quite well. But then my brother was supposed to step up and be man at family type of thing, and he was a right piss cab. In fact, I couldn't stand him towards the end of his relationship.
Really?
You know, before he died, he was a nasty drunk though. He wasn't a pub drunk, he was a street drunk. But it was still sad to see him go that way, but he was one of these alcoholics that were in rehab. My mum were paying for it, you know, and all this lot of malarkey. Whereas I was like a social alcoholic, you know. You've got to get to the point in your life where you can stand and just admit alcohol is a problem in my life.
So do you think some people are never gonna?
Some people never do it. They will never admit it. That's the first stage. I'm not going to preach to anybody about stopping drinking because I know how hard it is, because I've seen it. I've seen people.
What would you say if somebody
house.
says, well, you're probably not helping people running a pub? Because there will be people who think that, won't they?
Yeah, but I'm helping myself out because
Oh, I understand that.
I needed.
It's a choice, isn't
Although
it?
I'd stopped drinking, I still needed to be in the pub.
Yeah.
7 days a week.
Yeah.
So that were kind of part of the addiction to alcohol.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So when I'd stopped drinking, and I couldn't go to a pub 7 days a week, or I could and drink pop or whatever, I thought the only solution I'm going to be able to do this, to stop drinking, is to get a pub, and then I'd be in pub 7 days a week, and everybody was just like, "You're going to kill yourself, Dave. You will kill yourself." And I was like, "I better don't."
Well, that's strength of character.
And it
isn't
was like, it was just crazy. I know it's a crazy idea, and alcoholics generally do run pubs, or
they
they become alcoholics.
Yeah.
Or, you know,
Yeah.
they're at end at bar with
Yeah.
men and that, and they're in on a Sunday afternoon and they're getting tanked. And
Do you think, right, so, I'm just going to put this out there, so in France, European countries, youngsters, 12, 13, 14, going out for family meals, wine's a big thing. I don't think they drink like us, but kids, you know, they'll have a glass of wine, half Perrier water, and it's sort of a bit of a social thing. They don't go out and sit in pubs like ours chucking pints. Do you think they're educating their children and we do nothing? Or do you just think it's a culture thing?
I just think it's a culture thing, that, I think. It's a bit like in Spain, when they have siesta, you know, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, sun's blaring, they're all on tank. Police, council workers, shop workers, you know, they're all having a bottle with a menu of the day or whatever, you know, between 2 and 5. And they'll have 6 or 7 bottles and all go back to work. I think you pass. I'm not going to say I don't blame my dad, and I don't blame my brother. But if I didn't grow up around alcoholics, would I have been an alcoholic?
Well,
that's a very strange, a very hard question to answer, because I enjoyed going out and getting drunk.
Do you think? Well, we all do. You know, I'd be a bit of an hypocrite if I sat there and said, you know, do you think, you know, your dad, was it a culture thing? that became alcoholic, or did you know your granddad, or is it just?
Well, my granddad never drank. That's my dad's dad.
Yeah.
I only ever remember him being in mental hospital, to be fair. My mum's dad died when I was really young. In 82, I think he died. So I'd have been 5. And he definitely didn't drink because he was strict as hell. But I think my dad was a bit of a culture thing. You know, a rugby player, played for Wicketry, painter and decorator, you know, working away, MFI, all that malarkey. Big scene in Wakefield, wasn't there? Back in the 80s and 90s and
Yeah.
I used to sit drinking with all police officers and all that, and sergeants and whatever else.
You used to happen in
You know,
Sheffield. You a lot at CID.
Yeah.
Again.
Well, Wakey was same, you know, Strafford Arms, where all detectives used to drink and that, Black Rock. I kind of grew up a little bit in Black Rock, and then I ended up getting a job there at 16, last collected.
How do you think, as a society, or do you think it's impossible, you know, to sort of educate youth? Because you don't want to take everything away, do you? You know, there's a lot of people, way more people drink socially, maybe all their lives, and don't become alcoholics. How do you think there's anything you can do, or it's just?
I don't think we're drinking. There isn't a set program, is there? You know, it's one of them you either do or you don't. Certainly, we see now a lot less at younger end now. 18 to 21, but they are drinking. They're just not drinking in pubs.
Correct. Parks, parties.
Yeah.
I think they're also partaking in other things that we perhaps never.
Well, drug scene were always there, but it wasn't these massive Class A's that are now.
Do you think we're missing captive audience kids in school, missing educating them on life? Because
100%.
I don't think we do now. Drugs, alcohol, dangers when you're out there, everything else.
Yeah, 100% we are. It don't mean to say they're going to go on to be an alcoholic though.
No, right, exactly. Or become addicted to drugs or anything else. I just think that if I look at my daughter, they go out and they're experimenting, aren't they? They don't really know about anything.
Yeah.
Peer pressure or whatever. Whereas, when I was a kid, it was just local beer off. Ian Broad, who got full beard at 13, send him in with some cider, and you're on streets having a drink.
Yeah. Well, I went through all that, drinking in park and that, when I were in Nipper. Drinking on streets, in bus shelters and wherever we could, to be fair. Just get absolutely paggered during the day.
Do you think a lot about then, sort of last 15 years, where you've been?
I won't say I try and forget about it, and I'm so open with anybody who asks about it.
Like 10 o'clock at night, stood at a bar?
Yeah. Who asks about, well, it's kind of a life story, isn't it?
Yeah, of course it is.
Alcoholic to pub landlord. People just look at you gone out.
Yeah.
Like, whoa. There is certain things in life I wish I'd done different. But you can't live life on regret, can you?
No.
You know?
No, that can drag you down itself.
Yeah, of course it can.
I think it's all right to go back and look, but you've got to look where you are.
Yeah.
You know, people around you care about and take positives from that.
Yeah, 100%.
Is there anything else you would like to tell? Don't drink. I'm just going to leave it there. Dave the Rave, Woodman Pub, Leeds Road, Wakefield. Dogs welcome.
All people welcome.
Thanks for coming. What do I say next?
Shoulder to shoulder.
Yep.
I can't remember it.
I'll say there.
I'll say they.
I'll say there. Dave.
This is Hattie. The jumper's looking a bit shabby. Brian? 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 Hattie? Hattie? It's your sister. She's our smallest. Has a bit of a love-hate relationship with him, don't you, love? Eh? Oh, he's here. Here we go. You be gentle, Brian. Oh. She's the smallest in the house, Hattie. Yes, you muppet. Yes. Yeah, she's your little sister, isn't she? She's off back into her bed. No, leave her now, you muppet. Brian. 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 Good night, Hattie.